Dawn draped my family's land in a hush, the air sharp with pine and the musky scent of damp earth. I trudged up the gravel path to the dam, boots crunching on frost-kissed stones, my breath visible in the chill. At 45, my weathered face, etched with lines and short dark brown hair flecked with gray, told of hard years. My navy blue jacket, frayed at the cuffs, hung loose over faded jeans and sturdy brown boots. The reservoir lay before me, a glassy expanse mirroring the pink-streaked sky, its surface so still it seemed to hold its breath. Ducks glided near the shore, their soft quacks blending with the faint hum of bees. But a heavy silence pressed against my chest, an unspoken accusation. This 200-acre haven, meadows, dense woods, this man-made lake, was my inheritance from Grandfather Amos, who built the dam in the 1950s to tame a wild stream. "Water's patient," he'd say, his gravelly voice clear as we fished, my boyish hands fumbling with the rod. Now, on the dam's concrete spine, those words sank deep, heavy as the water's weight. To outsiders, the reservoir was serene, sunlight dancing like fireflies, but to me, it was a battlefield, a reminder of a theft I hadn't seen coming. Beyond the dam sprawled Willow Creek Estates, 35 houses, their emerald lawns mown with precision, flower beds bursting with petunias, welcome mats proclaiming home sweet home. Children's laughter floated up, porch lights glowed warmly, but every foundation stood on my stolen land. The HOA had orchestrated a heist, forging papers while I was away, lost in city struggles, bills, a bitter divorce. They'd redrawn boundaries, buried objections, built without a whisper of consent, calling it progress. I gripped the rusted railing, its cold bite grounding my fury. The dam hummed faintly, water pressing relentlessly against concrete. One turn of the gate's lever could unleash a flood, swallowing those pristine homes. I pictured it, water roaring, lawns drowning, the HOA's lies washed away. The thought thrilled, then sobered me. Grandfather's voice urged restraint. Control's the real power. Memories flooded back. Summers by the stream, now paved over. Grandfather's warnings about greedy hands. I'd ignored early signs. New fences, survey stakes glinting in my meadow. The county clerk, Ed, had stammered. "It's legal," avoiding my gaze, his papers riddled with lies. My cabin's deeds told the truth. My land, stolen. The reservoir reflected my resolve, its calm masking a storm within. The HOA thought their empire untouchable, but they'd misjudged me. As sunlight spilled across the water, I turned back, boots echoing with purpose. The fight was beginning, and the dam, like me, held its power. Patient, unyielding, ready. As twilight cloaked my family's land in a lavender veil, the air thick with the scent of cooling grass, pine, and distant wood smoke, a sharp knock echoed through my cabin, pulling me from thoughts of the dam's silent accusations. It was Karen, my neighbor, standing resolute on the porch, her wiry 65-year-old frame silhouetted against the fading sun. Sharp gray eyes glinting with purpose, gray hair pulled tight in a bun, her olive green sweater and khaki pants tucked into sensible shoes caked with mud from her daily treks across the land she'd called home for 4 decades. I, a 45-year-old with weathered features etched by years of toil, short, dark brown hair streaked with gray, and a lean build clad in a frayed navy blue jacket, faded jeans, and sturdy brown boots, ushered her inside. The reservoir's faint shimmer visible through the window, its calm a stark contrast to the storm brewing in my chest. We settled at my scarred oak table, the wood creaking under the weight of a thermos of coffee she slid across, her voice low and steady like a stream over worn stones.
I've watched this land change, fields to fences, streams to pipes, but this is no accident. Survey markers shifted under moonlight. I saw their flashlights bobbing like fireflies, property lines creeping like shadows, and they tricked old Mr. Harlan into signing an easement in his hospital bed, half delirious, promising community access that became Willow Creek Estates. Her words cut deep, and I sipped the bitter brew, the mug's warmth seeping into my calloused hands, wanting to dismiss it as bureaucratic error, but her unyielding gaze pierced my doubt, those gray eyes holding the truth like a blade. She pulled a faded Polaroid from her pocket, showing my meadow's boundary fence now buried under a cul-de-sac, and a notebook crammed with sketches, dates, and notes on shifted boundaries, her finger tracing the theft of my acres. 35 houses built on my land, a calculated grab by the HOA, cloaked in promises of rising property values and community dreams. "They're not sloppy," she whispered, the cabin's timbers groaning as wind rattled the panes. "They're predators, and your land's just the start. Mine's next if we don't stop them." Memory surged. Grandfather's warnings about greedy hands. My years in the city lost to divorce battles and mounting bills. Oblivious as the HOA schemed, forging signatures, bribing officials. Karen's evidence, meticulous as her garden rose, confirmed the betrayal. My legacy, acres of meadow and memory, stolen while I was distracted. As she left, her footsteps fading into the night's chorus of crickets and rustling leaves, I stood alone, the reservoir's dark reflection mocking my naivete through the window. The attic's deeds waited, brittle but undeniable, and the fire in my chest burned hotter, the weight of her warning settling like sediment, urging me to unearth the truth and fight for what was mine.
The revelation of the HOA's treachery, ignited by Karen's warning, burned in my chest as I slipped into the Willow Creek Estates Community Center, its glass walls gleaming under a crisp autumn sun, the air thick with the scent of fresh paint and brewed coffee, a sterile contrast to the raw earth of my stolen land. At 45, my weathered face, short dark brown hair streaked with gray, and lean frame clad in a frayed navy blue jacket, faded jeans and sturdy brown boots blended into the back row of chattering residents, my heart pounding with resolve to uncover the truth behind the 35 houses built on my acres. The HOA board, 3 smug figures in their 40s and 50s, led by Harlan, a slick-haired man in a navy suit with a perpetual smirk, flanked by Margaret, a stern woman in gray, and a portly man in black, stood at a podium, their voices amplified over the hum of a projector displaying glossy blueprints of their vision. "Willow Creek is progress," Harlan boomed, his words dripping with charm. "Rising property values up 20%, block parties, a clubhouse with a pool. This is the American dream." The crowd clapped, swayed by promises, but I saw through the veneer, my fingers clutching Karen's notebook, its sketches of shifted boundaries searing my mind. Flashbacks haunted me. Grandfather's lessons by the stream, now paved under cul-de-sacs, his voice warning of smiling thieves. I'd pored over attic deeds by lamplight, their brittle pages confirming the HOA's grab, acre by acre, while I was lost in city struggles. I rose at the meeting's end, voice steady despite the knot in my gut. "This neighborhood's on my land, stolen without consent." The room fell silent, Harlan's smirk faltering as he sneered, "Baseless claims from a relic who can't evolve." The crowd murmuring disdain, labeling me a troublemaker. Yet I caught flickers of unease in their eyes. Neighbors like Mrs. Carter, who'd once waved kindly, now shifting uncomfortably. The HOA's lies were a polished facade, their community a theft cloaked in jargon, but Karen's words echoed. They're predators. As I left the center, the artificial light clashing with the golden dusk outside, the reservoir's distant shimmer called me, its calm masking the storm within. My cabin's maps awaited, battle lines drawn in ink, and though the HOA dismissed me, I sensed their fear. They knew the truth was surfacing, like water seeping through cracks. The fight born on the dam, fueled by Karen's evidence, now demanded action.
And as I walked home, boots crunching on fallen leaves, the scent of impending rain in the air, I vowed to expose their empire, built on my legacy, no matter the cost.
The county courthouse loomed like a stone fortress under a gray November sky, its marble steps slick with drizzle, the air heavy with the scent of wet pavement and old paper, as I, a 45-year-old with weathered features, short dark brown hair streaked with gray, and a lean frame clad in a frayed navy blue jacket, faded jeans, and sturdy brown boots, clutched a binder of evidence, deeds, surveys, Karen's meticulous notes, my heart pounding with the hope that truth would cut through the HOA's lies about the 35 houses on my stolen land. Inside, the fluorescent-lit courtroom buzzed with tension, the wooden benches creaking as I sat beside my pro bono lawyer, Alex, a young idealist with messy hair and earnest eyes, who whispered, "Their money moves faster than justice." The HOA board, Harlan, slick-haired and smirking in a navy suit, Margaret, stern and gray, and their portly colleague in black, sat with their high-priced lawyers, their smugness palpable as they buried the judge in motions, counterclaims, and delays, each paper a calculated jab to wear me down. "Objection, Your Honor," their lead attorney droned, twisting my claim into a tale of a bitter landowner, while the judge, a weary man with glasses perched low, sighed, his sympathy tilting toward the homeowners they paraded. Mrs. Carter, clutching a photo of her toddler's birthday, choking out, "This is our home!" An elderly couple raving about their forever garden. Their words stung, painting me as the villain, but I saw the HOA's game. Hide theft behind innocent faces. Flashbacks gripped me. Karen's warning, her sharp gray eyes and her olive green sweater and khaki pants urging me to fight. Grandfather's voice, "Don't let him take it." My resolve hardened, fueled by nights poring over maps, the cabin's lamplight casting shadows on my legacy's proof. Alex uncovered a damning email, HOA bribes to county officials, hinting at deeper corruption. But the judge's frown deepened. "These families aren't criminals," he muttered, as Harlan's smirk widened. Outside, Karen waited, her bun tight, sensible shoes tapping, whispering, "Keep going, they're slipping." My ex, Sarah, called that night, her voice sharp over the phone. "You're obsessed, let it go." But this wasn't just land, it was principle, a stand against greed cloaked as progress. The courtroom's sterile air choked me, yet I stood firm, the binder heavy in my hands, its pages a shield against their lies. As I left, rain soaking my jacket, the reservoir's distant call echoed, its patient power mirroring my own. The HOA thought bureaucracy would bury me, but the truth, like water, was seeping through, and I'd fight on, for grandfather, for justice, for the land they thought they could steal forever. As the legal battle dragged into its second year, the courthouse's sterile halls fading into a blur of endless hearings, I, a 45-year-old with weathered features, short dark brown hair streaked with gray, and a lean frame clad in a frayed navy blue jacket, faded jeans, and sturdy brown boots, found solace in nightly treks to the dam, its concrete bulk looming under a starlit sky. The air thick with the scent of wet stone and mist, rising from the reservoir, a glassy expanse that mirrored my simmering fury over the 35 houses built on my stolen land. The dam, my grandfather's legacy, hummed faintly underfoot, its rusted gates glinting in the moonlight, whispering of power held in check. Each step echoed with the crunch of gravel, grounding me as I stood at its edge, gazing at Willow Creek Estates below, its glowing porch lights and manicured lawns mocking the HOA's theft. "One turn," I muttered to the wind, imagining the gates creaking open, water surging to swallow their false empire, a vision so vivid I could hear the roar, see the chaos. Flashbacks gripped me. Grandfather's gravelly voice, "Control's the real power," as we checked the dam's gauges in my youth. Karen's sharp gray eyes in her olive green sweater, urging me to fight smarter, not harder. Her words lingered as I recalled her visit that week, her bun tight, sensible shoes tapping, saying, "They're scared. They know you're close." Her notebook of evidence now bolstered by Alex's legal digs, emails hinting at HOA bribes. Yet doubt gnawed. Could I unleash the flood, ruin innocent lives like Mrs. Carter's? My ex, Sarah, had called again, her voice sharp. "You're chasing ghosts. It's eating you alive." But this was no ghost. It was my land, my legacy. The reservoir's calm surface reflected the moon, a hypnotic dance that both soothed and taunted, its patience mirroring my own as I wrestled with the temptation to act.
The HOA, led by Harlan's slick smirk and Margaret's cold calculations in their tailored suits, thought they held all cards, but they didn't own this water, this dam, this power. I touched the gate's lever, its cold metal biting my palm, and pulled back, restraint winning over rage. Karen's warning echoed, "Truth's your flood," and I knew she was right. The real battle was in court, not here. As I turned back, boots crunching toward the cabin, the night's chill seeping through my jacket, the reservoir's quiet strength fueled my resolve. The HOA's empire teetered on my land, and though they dismissed me, the dam waited, patient and unyielding, a silent promise that their lives would soon face a reckoning as inevitable as the water's flow. As the legal fight ground on, my nights at the dam fueling my resolve, a relentless storm season descended like divine wrath, thunder rumbling through the valley, rain lashing the earth with a ferocity that mirrored my buried anger. I, a 45-year-old with weathered features, short dark brown hair streaked with gray, and a lean frame clad in a frayed navy blue jacket, faded jeans, and sturdy ground boots, stood on my porch, the air thick with the scent of wet soil and ozone, watching Willow Creek Estate's manicured lawns turn to swamps. The 35 houses on my stolen land no longer pristine. Floodwaters surged, basements filled, driveways became rivers, and the HOA's facade of perfection crumbled. At their packed community meeting, the center's fluorescent lights flickering, Harlan, slick-haired in a navy suit, flanked by Margaret's stern gray suit and their portly colleague's black one, deflected blame, shouting, "The dam owner's negligence caused this," as residents, drenched in raincoats, roared, "Fix our homes!" I lingered outside, rain soaking my jacket, hearing their lies through an open window, my heart pounding with vindication as Karen, 65, with sharp gray eyes, gray hair and a tight bun, olive green sweater, khaki pants, and sensible shoes, joined me, whispering, "They're slipping. People are asking questions." Flashbacks hit, her warning about shifted boundaries, grandfather's voice, "Water finds the truth." Now, nature was my ally, exposing the HOA's greed. Neighbors like Mrs. Carter, once friendly, glared from windows, swayed by newsletters branding me a menace. But others, like Mike, a regretful father in a sodden cap, approached me days later by the reservoir, its surface rippling under storm clouds, confessing, "I didn't know the land was yours. They lied." His words sparked hope. Doubt was spreading, questions about ownership echoing in tense whispers at mailboxes. Who controls the dam? The HOA's propaganda faltered as flooded yards revealed their incompetence, their promises of progress drowned in muddy reality. Karen's evidence, now shared with Mike, fueled whispers of lawsuits. And Alex, my lawyer, called, his voice urgent, "We've got new depositions. Ex-board members are talking." My cabin's map, spread under lamplight, showed the truth clearer than ever. But Sarah's voice haunted me. "This fight's consuming you," urging surrender. Yet, as I watched the storm's aftermath, the reservoir's swollen edges lapping at the dam, I felt its power mirror my own, patient, unyielding. The HOA, with Harlan's smug grin, thought lies would shield them, but cracks were widening, doubt seeping like stormwater through their empire's foundation. As I trudged back, boots squelching, the rain's rhythm echoed my vow. The truth, like water, was unstoppable, and the HOA's stolen domain would soon face the reckoning I'd held back at the dam's gates.
With the storms exposing the HOA's flaws and doubt rippling through Willow Creek like the reservoir's waves, the board doubled down on their arrogance, filing injunctions that landed on my doorstep like thunderclaps, demanding I surrender dam control, their threats of fines, liens, and even seizure of my remaining land echoing in the air thick with post-rain humidity. I, a 45-year-old with weathered features, short dark brown hair streaked with gray, and a lean frame clad in a frayed navy blue jacket, faded jeans and sturdy brown boots, stood in my cabin, the scent of damp wood and coffee filling the room, my hands trembling as I read their demands, realizing this was their desperate bid to bend reality to their will. Harlan's slick signature mocked me from the papers, his navy-suited smugness vivid in memory, flanked by Margaret's stern gray attire and their portly colleague's black suit, but I was done yielding.
Karen's sharp gray eyes, at 65 with her gray hair and a tight bun, olive green sweater, khaki pants and sensible shoes, gleamed as she rallied with me over the oak table, her voice steady. They think dues make them kings, but we've got allies now. Flashbacks surged. Grandfather's warnings, the dam's patient hum, Karen's initial warning that sparked it all, and now with Mike's confession and ex-board members whispering secrets, the truth swelled like the reservoir after storms. We gathered in my cabin, lamplight casting shadows on maps, Alex pacing with new depositions. They bribed officials, forged deeds, here's proof, his earnest eyes alight. Mike, regretful in his cap, shared newsletters he'd saved, exposing the HOA's lies, while a former board member, pale and fidgety, confessed, "I quit when I saw the surveys doctored." The pieces clicked. 35 houses on my land, an empire of deception. And my resolve hardened, the weight of betrayal lifting as anger turned to action. Sarah's call came again, her voice pleading, "This ends you." But I hung up, fueled by principle. Karen squeezed my arm. "They underestimated you," her sensible shoes tapping resolve. The breaking point wasn't the water, but this moment, rallying against their hubris. As I walked to the dam at dawn, mist rising, its concrete firm underfoot, the reservoir's calm reflected my clarity. The HOA's threats were bluster, their stolen ground crumbling. With evidence mounting, we filed countersuits, the courthouse air buzzing with our momentum. Harlan's smirk would fade. Their empire, built on lies, was destined to fall. The fight, born on the dam, warned by Karen, confronted in meetings, battled in court, tested by storms, now peaked. I'd been patient, but no more. The truth too vast to ignore. And as I gripped the railing, the water's hum promised victory.
With alliances forged and evidence mounting like the reservoir's rising waters after the storms, the final hearing dawned under a clear spring sky, the courthouse's marble steps gleaming as I, a 45-year-old with weathered features, short dark brown hair streaked with gray, and a lean frame clad in a frayed navy blue jacket, faded jeans, and sturdy brown boots, entered with Alex, our binder thick with surveys, deeds, and whistleblower testimonies, my heart pounding with the culmination of the fight sparked by Karen's warning and tested by the HOA's threats. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation, wooden benches filled with homeowners, reporters, and allies, the air heavy with the scent of polished oak and nervous sweat. Karen, 65, with sharp gray eyes, gray hair and a tight bun, olive green sweater, khaki pants, and sensible shoes, sat beside me, squeezing my hand, her voice a whisper, "This is it. Truth floods all." Surveyors testified first, laser pointers tracing maps projected on the wall, their voices steady, boundaries clearly violated, 35 homes on the plaintiff's land. Historical deeds yellowed and dated back decades were presented, their ink irrefutable. The HOA board, Harlan, slick-haired and pale in his navy suit, Margaret stern and gray, their portly colleague fidgeting in black, sat rigid, their lawyer stammering objections that crumbled under the judge's stone-faced scrutiny, his gavel echoing like thunder as arguments collapsed. Flashbacks raced through my mind, the dam's patient hum, grandfather's gravelly wisdom, water levels all, mirroring this moment. Karen's notebook, Mike's confession, ex-board members spilling bribes and forgeries. Homeowners shifted uneasily, Mrs. Carter whispering to her neighbor, "We were pawns," as the reality sank in, their dreams built on theft. The judge listened, brow furrowed, to the HOA's final plea, Harlan's voice cracking, "These families deserve stability," but proof overwhelmed. The land is unequivocally the plaintiff's, developments unlawful, authority revoked. Shock rippled, board members ashen, lawyers silent, the gavel's thunder sealing justice, not as rushing water, but as undeniable truth washing away lies. Outside, sunlight poured through windows like a flood of light. Karen hugging me, her sensible shoes planted firm. "We did it, without the gates." Mike nodded, regretful. "Sorry for doubting," while Sarah's message buzzed, "Proud of you, a bridge mending." The neighborhood reeled, homeowners in shock, their illusions shattered. The HOA's empire dissolved, leaders disgraced.
As I walked to the dam that evening, mist rising, its concrete steady underfoot, the reservoir calm, reflecting victory, I felt grandfather's presence. The fight from still water's weight to justice's surge had changed everything, proving truth stronger than any flood.
In the aftermath of the courtroom triumph, where justice surged like a contained flood, Willow Creek Estates transformed. Its once vibrant streets hushed under a summer sun. Some families packing U-Hauls in defeat, unable to stomach living on tainted soil, while others lingered, humbled, their manicured lawns overgrown with weeds of uncertainty. I, a 45-year-old with weathered features, short dark brown hair streaked with gray, and a lean frame clad in a frayed navy blue jacket, faded jeans, and sturdy brown boots, walked the dam's edge with Karen. Her 65-year-old sharp gray eyes, softened by victory, gray hair and a tight bun, olive green sweater, khaki pants, and sensible shoes, stepping lightly beside me. The reservoir's calm surface reflecting a peaceful blue sky, its gentle lapping a soothing counterpoint to the chaos we'd endured. The HOA's power had evaporated like morning mist. Leaders like Harlan, once slick in his Navy suit, now disgraced in fleeing lawsuits. Margaret's stern facade shattered, their portly colleagues silent. Newsletters ceased, board meetings dissolved into whispers of scandal. Mrs. Carter approached me one afternoon by the reservoir, her toddler on her hip, voice tentative. "We didn't know, thank you for the truth." Her words a balm after glares and rumors. Mike, now an ally, helped organize community talks, admitting we were blind to the theft. Flashbacks wove through my thoughts. The dam's initial wait, Karen's hushed warning in my cabin, the confrontation at meetings, courtroom battles, storms cracking the facade, alliances at the breaking point, justice's gavel thundering. Grandfather's voice echoed clearest. Water finds its level. A lesson proved without opening the gates. Sarah visited, her embrace tentative. "You were right to fight." Mending old wounds. Alex called with updates. Fines levied, land titles reverted, my acres restored. The neighborhood quieted, half-empty houses sold cheaply, remaining residents more neighborly, aware of fragility. Karen and I strolled often, the air sweet with wildflowers reclaiming the valley, discussing how close we'd come to destruction. The threat was enough, she said, her sensible shoes pausing at the railing. I nodded, gazing at the still water, its patience my teacher. The HOA had built on stolen ground, paid with disgrace, their arrogance drowned in truth. No flood needed. Justice, like water, carved its path, patient and inevitable. As we turned back, boots crunching on gravel, the reservoir shimmered, a mirror of peace earned through storm. The land, my legacy, stood whole, grandfather's wisdom vindicated. Willow Creek would heal, humbled, a reminder that empires on lies crumble. Every glance at the water reinforced the lesson. Silence holds storms, control trumps chaos, and truth always flows through.